Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the confirmation. So before I proceed, a little bit about Jamboree. I see that majority of you are not Jamboree students. So I'll just tell just for a moment. I'll tell you a little bit about Jamboree. So we have been in the study abroad industry since 1993. We train students, we help them prepare for exams such as SAT, ACT, TOEFL, IELTS, etc. And we help them apply to universities which accept these scores, right? So that's what we have been doing, and that's what we do. Since 1993, we have been focused primarily on studying abroad. We do not teach for the IIT, JEE, or any other programs. We train students on a very limited number of exams, and that maybe that's why our students have been able to do get really high scores or get admits in some of the top universities across the world. We have 39 physical centers in 22 cities across 4 countries, and we have been teaching online since 2012. So when the lockdown happened in March of last year, so it was pretty simple for us to transition to complete online teaching. Our faculty were already trained to do so. The infrastructure was already in place, right? And since March of 2020, so it's been more than a year now, we have been teaching students online. And our students have been taking the exams, getting scores, applying to universities, getting admission, etc. In fact, a lot of our students are headed out, for fall 2021. So they have gotten admission in 2021. And as you know, the university campuses outside India, in US, Canada, etc., they are like, they will be fully opening up in August of or September of this year. So if any of you looking to go abroad, so this is probably the good time to do so, right? Now, so any of you, if you want, those of you are not Jamboree students, if you want to take a demo SAT class to see how we teach or what is the SAT, etc., or if you want a customized profile evaluation discussion, that means if you want to have a discussion with one of our admission experts to know what kind of program you should be applying for, or whether your current profile meets the criteria or not, or maybe if there is any gap in your profile, then what you can do to enhance it, etc., etc., right? So anyone looking for either an SAT demo class or a profile evaluation session, please leave your number in the chat. Our team would get in touch with you, and then we'll schedule it for you, right? So even if if you leave your number, and even if you get disconnected in the middle of the session, or if you have to leave towards the end, still you will get a call from us, and so that you can get get a one-on-one session with an admissions person, right? Okay, so those of you who have completed typing your messages, that's fine. And some of you are still typing your numbers, so just complete that. In the meantime, let me proceed. So for some of you who are probably just have started class 11th, or maybe you are in class 12, so there's a lot of uncertainty, and I understand that this year, because of the pandemic, The class 10th board exams have been cancelled for quite a few boards. The class 11th exams also have been cancelled. Now there is a conversation around class 12 exams also, right? So now these things, and if you are not able to take your class 10th exams, or if you are not able to take the 12 exams, and if you the marks that you get, if they are based on your internal exams, etc., then definitely those marks are not going to be as high as you would have gotten, in your, if you had taken the exams. So those of you who could not take your class 10th board exams, so I'm sure, your internal marks or whatever your school test, etc., if the final marks are given based on that, then that will probably be quite a bit lower than what you would have scored on your board exams. Similarly, if the class 12th board exams get cancelled, so there is a conversation around that also, then whatever you have been getting in your school, in your, like, in the internal marks, so those marks are not going to be a true reflection, right? So in your board exams, class 12 board exams, you would have scored far higher, right? Some of you were probably preparing for the IIT JEE or the NEET exams, so they have also been postponed, and there is no clarity around what's gonna happen, when that's going to happen, when are the classes going to start, etc., etc. So during these times, it helps to have a plan B. It may not be your, studying abroad may not be your first plan, right? But it can be your plan B. Ultimately, you don't want to lose a year. Ultimately, you do not want to be penalized because you don't have class 10th marks, right? So when you will be applying for colleges in India, etc., your class 10th marks also are taken into account. So you don't want to be in a position where you get unnecessarily penalized just because the exams got cancelled. Therefore, this is a time when there is no harm in thinking about a plan B, having a backup plan just in case if things don't work out for you, right? So now, so for that, the one best part is that, unlike in India, so in India, whether you get admission in a good college or not is dependent on your marks and entrance exam. That's it. Nothing else. However, when you apply to universities abroad, right? So the admissions criteria there are quite a few admissions criteria. It's not just one or two exams. So one of the admissions criteria, these exams, like what we call the standardized exams, the SAT exam or the ACT exam, the language test. So yes, these test scores are required. Then they are going to look at your academic record also, your class 9th, 10th, and 11th marks, right? However, and if you think that your academic marks are not that strong, then you have an opportunity, or you are given an opportunity to make up for that or to improve upon that by getting a high SAT score. So in a sense, universities look at your test scores and your academic records together. Both of these things together give an idea to the university about whether you will be able to cope with their curriculum or not. So it's like having a second chance. In case your grades are not well, you can now try to make up for that by getting a high SAT score. Right? The next parameter that universities, look at are your extracurricular activities. If whether you have been head boy, head girl, or maybe you have interesting hobbies like playing the guitar or drawing. So all these kind of extracurricular activities, so you get weightage for them also. So there is you get quite a lot of actually weightage for your extracurricular activities. So if you, during this pandemic, you have been at home, so you do have time to develop your extracurricular activities, not the sports related ones, of course, but if you are good at music, so you can like have your YouTube channel, right? If you are good at writing, then you can have a blog. So you can utilize this time to explore and enhance your extracurricular activities, and that in turn is going to help you, in when you apply to universities abroad, right? So, in essays, when you apply to universities, you have to write application essays. It's not your marks, right? Now, these essays, you can present your profile. You can talk about your strengths. You can talk about, your interest, etc. So you get another opportunity to market your profile to the universities, to pitch your candidature to the universities. The next thing that you would need are letters of recommendation from your school. Now, these are extremely valuable. Your school counselor, your school principal or headmaster, they know that you are a good student, but for some reason you could not take the exam or the exams got cancelled. So the teacher, your counselor, the principal, they can actually write it in the letter of recommendation, and it's going to have an impact on your admissions. However, but this thing does not hold true when we apply to Indian universities, right? There is no concept of school teachers giving letters of recommendation. Okay, so you get now another opportunity, another aspect where somebody can explain to the university why your academics are probably not, they probably don't look that good, right? Next is that, in some of the top universities, especially the Ivy Leagues, so if you want to go to a Harvard, MIT, Stanford, etc., any of these Ivy League colleges, then there is an interview round as well. So you get another opportunity, to present your profile to the university. Now, these interviews are usually, through Zoom interviews or like video interviews online, right? So you don't even have to go out of your home to take these interviews, right? So these are the admissions criteria for universities, abroad. Now here, as you can see, your academics is one of the criteria, only one of the criteria. It is not the only criteria. So you have got multiple opportunities, to present a strong case to the university, right? And this is one of the major reasons why this year, we are seeing a lot of students who are coming to us saying that they want to now look at abroad as a plan B or as an option, purely because the admissions criteria involve not just one or two things but a lot of things, lot of opportunities for you, to be able to get admission to into a good college, right? Okay, so now when we say abroad, okay, these are the admissions criteria, great, so now when we talk about abroad, so what are the most popular destinations, right? So you should also know what are the pros and cons of each destination. So these are the most common destinations that Indian students go for. US, but of late, Canada is also, a lot of students prefer to go to Canada also than all these countries. There are quite a few liberal arts colleges or even technical colleges in India who nowadays they follow the same admissions process as universities abroad. That means you can apply with your SAT score. There will be interview rounds. There will be application essays. You have to submit letters of recommendation, etc., etc. So there are quite a few Indian universities also now, who follow the same admission process, same admissions criteria as universities abroad. So if your parents, are, they don't want you to go abroad. They want you to stay close to home. That's fine. You can still do your this whole profile development part. You can still take the SAT exam, and then instead of applying abroad, you can apply to the Indian colleges which have similar admissions procedure, right? So whatever you are gonna do, that's not going to waste your time. You will not be wasting your time, right? So these are the most popular destinations. Now let's look at the pros and cons of each destination. So the first destination, which is, as I said, is gaining a lot of popularity in the last few years, is Canada, right? The advantages of Canada is that this education system is flexible, lot of job opportunities, and in case you want to settle abroad, in case you want to, after doing your bachelor's degree, if you want to live in Canada, then they have got very friendly permanent residency policies. So if you do a 4-year bachelor's degree in Canada, then you will, your PR is almost automatic, right? So it's very, very easy for students, or very simple for students who want to, settle there after doing your bachelor's degree. The negatives is that the university options is limited, right? There are only about 8 to 10 good colleges that you can go to, right? And the admission criteria gives maximum focus on academics. So this tends to be slightly, negative, especially in the current scenario. But you can still try to make up for it by getting a good IELTS score, having a good application, etc. So the Canada is one, definitely can be one of the countries that you apply to. Then the next set is like UK, and the rest of Europe, including France or Switzerland, Germany, all like Europe, right? UK prominently it's here because most of the topmost universities are from UK. The positives, obviously, some of the most prestigious universities in the world are located in the UK. So that's a big plus. In terms of negative, there are some language problems, in some of the countries. So if you want to go for a bachelor's degree in Germany or in France, their primary language is not English. So very few universities are available who will teach you the courses in English. And even after doing the course, even after completing the course, getting a job might be difficult if you do not become fluent in their local language. So the European non-English speaking European countries like your Spain, France, Germany, Russia, etc. It's a little difficult. So we usually don't recommend students to go to non-English speaking countries, right? Getting a job becomes difficult. However, countries such as UK, Ireland, Netherlands are great options. Good degrees, good colleges, and great jobs. One negative thing, especially for Indian students, a lot of our students are looking at scholarships, but the European colleges do not give many scholarships. So this can be a financial burden. However, if budget is not a constraint, if budget is not a constraint, then Europe is definitely a great destination to go to, right? So and in the current scenario, there are the job opportunities in some of the European countries are not that good. Okay, so in some countries it's really good, like countries such as Ireland and Netherlands. The job opportunities are good, but in some of the European countries, the job opportunities are not good. So be very particular about which country you are applying to. Okay, our request at this point, some of you are typing your questions in the chat window. My request will be not to do so. We will first like to give the information that we want to do, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Right now, I would request everyone to listen to the information, take notes if you want to, click, pictures if you want to, take screenshots. But do not type your questions in the chat window. I will not be able to take them at this point, right? Okay, moving on. The next popular destination, Singapore and Hong Kong. Hong Kong, in the last few years, not too many students are applying to Hong Kong, and we would also not ask you to apply to the Hong Kong colleges. The political scenario there is very volatile, a lot of violence happening, so probably not Hong Kong, but definitely Singapore is a great option. From Delhi, for instance, if you want to go to Singapore, it's just a 5.5 hour flight, right? So it's very nearby. So to parents who do not want to send their kids far away, for them, Singapore is a great opportunity. Some massive, massive positives. Singapore universities are extremely economical. They are not as expensive as a Canadian or UK university, right? Or a US university. So they are, you probably have to spend just about 10, 12 lakhs extra. So in India, if you are going to spend, around 10 lakhs, then in Singapore, you will probably have to spend around, 20, 25 lakhs on your bachelor's degree. So they're highly economical, right? Another thing, as I already mentioned, they're very close to India. Right? So parents, they sometimes feel comfortable sending their kids to Singapore. And just like Canada, they also have very friendly PR policies. That means, if you want to settle in Singapore, if you, after completing your degree, it is very easy to get a job there and work there. Right? The policies are not that complicated, right? The negative is that there are just 3 or 4 good universities, and because there are so few universities, it's extremely difficult to get admission, extremely difficult, unless you spend a lot of time working on your profile. Getting admission in these colleges is extremely difficult. Very often, we get students who get admission offer from New York University or Penn State, but they get rejections from the Singapore universities, right? Because it's cheap, they are cheap, they are close to India. The massive positives, therefore a lot of Indian students apply to the Singapore colleges. Then the next destination, Australia and New Zealand. If you want to go to Australia and New Zealand, so they're massive positives, of course. The first thing is that they are extremely good for hospitality related courses. So if you want to go for hospital, like a hotel management, hospitality management, those kind of programs in Australia and New Zealand, they are number one in the world, right? They also have extremely friendly PR policies. So if you do a bachelor's degree in Australia or New Zealand, then getting a job there and settling down there, is not that much of a problem, right? The problem is that, again, just like Singapore, is that there are just about two or three good universities in Australia and New Zealand. Ultimately, where you do your bachelor's degree from is a major decision. That university name is going to be there on your resume, on your CV forever. So make sure that you choose a bachelor's degree college which has a good brand name, so that even like 10, 15 years after you do the degree, whenever you apply for a job, the company would like sit up and take notice. So you should go for universities that have very strong brand names. So that's a very important point that to keep in mind when choosing bachelor's degree colleges, right? Now, options in India. I mentioned earlier that there are like lot quite a few universities in India nowadays where the admission process is very similar or exactly similar to the admissions process abroad. And these universities also take the SAT scores, right? Some of the good ones like Ashoka University, Kriya, Flame, Narsi Monji, Plaksha University. So these are some universities in India. Ashoka is the best among them all, and they have been around for quite some time. And their students, after the bachelor's degrees, they end up getting like really really good jobs, right? So these colleges very industry focused, very learning focused. You get to do exchange programs with international universities as well. So if you focus on your SAT and if you work on building your profile, then your efforts are not going to go to waste, right? You can decide to apply abroad, or you can even decide to apply to colleges in India, right? So keep that in mind. Again, as I said, those of you who want this information, feel free to take a screenshot of this. Moving on. Now, I just like to tell a little bit about the US education system, some of the positives that are not that well known. There are massive positives, but they may not be that well known. First, thing is that the course flexibility. So you can like change your majors. You need not decide what you want to do till the beginning of your third year. So if you are confused at this stage, you don't know whether you want to go for engineering or business or humanities. Let's say you are confused, right? So you don't have to make up your mind. You can make up your mind at the beginning of your third year, right? So a lot every year we get students who go through this road, right? So Shubham, he in his class 11, 12, he had commerce, but he was always interested in engineering. He in class 10th he did not get good marks, so his school did not give him science. He took commerce, right? So when he after class 12 when he applied, so he applied for a BBA degree in the US, but after the second year he shifted to mechanical engineering, right? So that kind of a shift was possible. It would not have been possible in India, right? Then you can choose majors as late as the beginning of your third year. Richa, she was not sure, right? So when she applied as undecided. Then in the third year, she picked marketing as a major. So Richa was a humanities student. So she had, so she thought that she wanted to go for psychology. She was also interested in English. Reading was one of her hobbies. So she was not very sure what kind of career to pursue. So she applied as undecided major, and there, she spent 2 years in exploring different type of course options. She wanted to pick something which she was interested in, and which she had the aptitude also. So that is also important, and therefore finally she chose a marketing program. You can mix and match your majors also. Again, this is a very common thing that Indian students do. So Naveen, he did a double major. He majored in computer science and psychology, and currently is working in a tech company that makes psychoanalytical tools for recruiters, right? Then there was Kavita. So she majored in electrical engineering and film studies, right? And she's currently working in Columbia Studios as a sound engineer. Columbia Studios is a big Hollywood, film studio, right? So so basically, so when you do mix and match your interest, right? So you increase your employability. And there are lots of such examples. As I said, every year, we hear these stories. Every year our students go through this process, right? So the next thing is that, your there is a flexibility in terms of duration also. So in India, for instance, if you decide to do a BSc degree, then it is going to take you 3 years. For a good student also, it's going to be for 3 years. For a bad student also, it's going to be for 3 years. If you want to do an internship, then you have to, like, make time within those 3 years, right? You cannot decide to do 1 year internship and then finish the degree in 4 years. You don't have that flexibility at all. But in the US and Canadian universities, you do have that flexibility. So your bachelor's degree duration can be 3 to 5 years, depending, it's your choice basically. So Vamshi, so he completed his bachelor's degree in in 3 years, and he started working in Amazon in the fourth year. So basically, he saved 1 year of expenses, plus he started earning 1 year earlier. So bright students, they are able to finish their degrees in 3.5 years, 3 years also. If the summer semester is not mandatory, in the US, so you can visit India or you can do internships. So we highly recommend students to do internships. So as international students, when you do internships, so you are increasing your chances of getting a job after your bachelor's degree. So if you can do 2-3 internships, right, so you are bound to end up with a good job offer. So the summer semester, which is a short 2.5 month semester between before the fall semester, so there we strongly recommend students to do internships with companies there. Okay. Now another point is that in academics also there is a lot of flexibility, right? Lot of flexibility in terms of how the grading system happens. So there is a process of continuous evaluation. So grades are not dependent on just one or two exams, right? So grades are dependent on a lot of things that you do throughout the semester. Simple things like class attendance, assignments that you are given in class, etc. And whenever you do internships, so those count towards your bachelor's degree marks. In India, when you do industrial training or internships, those do not get added to your marks. You do not get marks for those. So if you do very well in an internship, so it is not going to increase your bachelor's degree marks in India. But in the US, and also when you do internships, right, so you get credits. That means you get marks for those, and your overall bachelor's degree marks also you can improve by doing these internships. Another thing is that, if those of you who know that you want to do uh do something related to research, so there is a possibility, there is this option that you can start your PhD degree right after your bachelor's degree. You do not have to do a master's degree. So it's not mandatory for students to do a master's degree to do a PhD degree. So bright bachelor's degree students who have good research work experience, they can move on directly to a PhD degree. Right? So Neha, she started her PhD from the fourth year of her bachelor's degree itself in biological sciences, and she got her PhD when she was 24 years old, right? So, and now the advantage of doing a PhD degree is that you get a guaranteed work visa, and it is always fully funded, right? So double advantages. So if you really want to keen to go into maybe research in computer science, or research in artificial intelligence, or research in mechanical, research in economics, then you don't have to do a master's degree. Right from your third, fourth year of your bachelor's degree, you can start with this, right? So in India, you might have heard about integrated bachelor's and master's. So there's an option of doing integrated bachelor's and PhD actually. Of course, it is difficult. You have to be really good in your academics. Right? Now, next thing is that you can take transfers. Now, in India, if you for bachelor's degree, if you get admission in a certain college, you have to complete your bachelor's degree there. You cannot move to another college. If you want to, then you will end up losing a year. But there, in the US, you have this concept of transferring, right? So if you so Shikha, one of our students, she got admission in Texas Tech. So her academics were not that strong. She spent very little time preparing for her SAT, so her SAT scores were not as strong. So when applying to university, she did not get an admission in a top college. She got into an average college. It's not a top 50 college, so to say. But in the first semester, of her university there, she did very well. She got a 4 out of 4 GPA. The second day also she did well. And so after the first year, she took a transfer to University of Texas, Austin, which is a top 20 university. So it's like getting a second chance. If for some reason after your school, you are not able to get admission in a top bachelor's degree college, if you just keep working hard and keep getting good grades in your bachelor's degree, you can apply for a transfer to a better university, right? Again, every year we see cases like this. Amit, he got admission in Rochester Institute of Technology. Again, it's a good college, but not a top 50 college. But after the first semester, he transferred to Penn State, which is a top 50 college, right? So of course you have to do well in your college there, but at least you have that option. It's not that just because you get admission in something, you have to study throughout in that location as well. Now some of the courses, right, some of the popular courses that Indian students go for: engineering is definitely one of the topmost. Business. Now science and like science, commerce and humanities students who have maths, they can pursue any of these business degrees. So you don't have to be from the commerce background. The general sciences. So computer science, basically, computer science comes under the sciences category, not engineering. Therefore, even if you are in commerce currently or humanities currently, if you have maths, so you can actually shift, you can do a bachelor's degree in computer science, because in the US, computer science is not considered to be an engineering degree, it is a science degree, right? Then humanities, again, these are some of the most popular ones. Psychology is an extremely employable humanities degree. Those of you who are considering a career in humanities, psychology is a great option. And anybody, even if you are currently in science or commerce, you can apply for a humanities degree, right? Okay, so basically these are some of the top programs that Indian students go for. If you want, you can take a picture of this screen. Right. So in case any of you, if you want to have like a one-on-one, like personal discussion about which course you are eligible to apply for, which universities or country would suit you the best, so if you leave your number in the chat, then our an admission expert can give you a call to and give you some really customized help. Right now, whatever I have discussed is general information. All of you will probably get some information out of it, but it is not customized to your specific case, and that will be happy to do on a one-on-one basis. Some of you have already left your numbers, so don't do that again. If you have already left your numbers, you don't have to do that again. But anybody who wants to discuss about courses, universities, countries, scholarships, how to improve your chances of scholarship, etc., all these very customized discussions, we'll be happy to have those with you. I'll pause here for a moment to let you complete your typing, and then we'll start again. By the way, your messages are coming only to me, so you don't have to worry about other people seeing your numbers. All right. Some of you are still typing. Please complete your typing. Now I'll revisit the admissions criteria once. So as you see, so these are the admissions criteria. So one of the most important thing is, these exams, the SAT, ACT, etc. In addition to your school grades, at least. So now, just a little bit about what is the SAT exam. What's the structure of the SAT exam? So the SAT exam is more or less an aptitude test. Okay, it is not going to test you on physics, chemistry, or biology. So it is more of an aptitude test. So it has an English, a verbal portion. Your verbal comprehension abilities, your reading comprehension abilities get tested. So the first test, or the first section, is a reading section where you will have 52 questions on 60, and you will have 65 minutes to solve them. So there will be reading passages, and you will have to then answer questions based on those passages. So this section is testing your reading comprehension skills. Then the next portion is the writing and language. So this is the grammar section. So again, your whatever grammar you may have learned till now. So this section is going to test you on your grammar skills. 44 questions to be done in 35 minutes. So if you see here, so you get like less than a minute per question. So in these sections, speed is of really great importance. Then there's a math portion. So in the math portion, the math section is divided into two portions. In the first portion, the questions are kind of simpler, and you are not allowed to use a calculator for this section. You have 20 questions and you have to solve them in 25 minutes. Then the next maths portion is slightly complicated. Therefore, you are allowed to use a calculator. Okay. In this section, you have to do 38 questions and you have 55 minutes to solve these questions. Okay? So the syllabus of the math section is 9th 10th level maths, majorly 10th level maths. There are a couple of topics like coordinate, geometry, etc. that come from class 11, but majorly it's a class 10th level maths, right? So this is the SAT exam structure. There is only verbal and math. There is no subject related questions. You do not have physics, chemistry, biology, or philosophy, psychology, economics kind of questions. It's simple math and verbal. So each of these sections is scored on a scale of 200 to 800. So the minimum score you will get in the verbal section is 200. The maximum score you will get is 800. In math, the minimum score you will get is 200 and maximum score you will get is 800, right? So overall total, the SAT is scored on a scale of 400 to 1600, right? So you are just adding these scores basically. So 400 is the minimum that you will get, and the maximum score you will get is 800 plus 800, 1600. So out of 1600, 1300, 1350 score is a decent score. But if you want to apply to the top 20 universities, then you have to target a 1480, 1500 kind of score. Okay. So unlike the Indian entrance exams, SAT exams are held 5 times a year. So because of the lockdown or something, if you could not take the exam once, you can take it some other time. The SAT exam is conducted 5 times a year. The upcoming SAT exam is in August. If you cannot take that, then the next attempt is in October. If you can't take that, then the next attempt is in December. So that is another advantage of it. For some unavoidable circumstances, if you are not able to take the SAT exam, you are not going to lose a year, right? The SAT exam is conducted 5 times a year. So that's all that is about the SAT exam. If any of you, if you want a more detailed session about SAT, if you want to like have a demo class, then do leave your number. If you have already done so, please don't do it again. We'll call you. We have your numbers and we'll call you. If you haven't left your numbers yet, only then leave your number, right? So the SAT exam itself is not online. It's a paper pencil test that is conducted in schools. So it is the exam itself is not online, but the preparation is online. So the SAT classes, the study material, everything is online. Okay. All right. So now I'll be happy to address your questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I will give you mic access and then you can ask your questions. If you do not have any questions, please feel free to leave. I hope you found this session useful. The recording of this session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, right? Yes, Aditi Kapoor, what's your question? Aditi Kapoor, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Aditi Kapoor, do you have a mic? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, never mind. Maybe. Yes, Prakhar Gupta, you can unmute yourself. Prakhar Gupta. Okay, guys, please raise your hand if you have mic access. Prakhar, can you ask your question?
Yes, ma'am. My question is like, ma'am, what's the cost of studying in USA?
Okay, so the cost of studying varies, greatly depending on which college you go to. So the range can be, can be like, 10 to 15 lakhs per year to about, 25 to 30 lakhs per year. So it totally depends on which kind of college you go to.
And ma'am, like I have one more question. Like, will board exams matter in all this?
That's what I started out by saying, that even if your board exam scores are not available, or if you have not done so well, now you can make up for that by getting a high SAT score.
Okay, like ma'am, can I opt for specific subject courses like that? Like ma'am, I'm not good in Hindi and French things, but I'm good in science and SST things.
No, if your marks are there, then the college is going to look at your aggregate, not subject specific marks.
Ma'am, I didn't understood this concept. Like will colleges look for specific subjects marks as well?
No, they will look at only the aggregate.
Okay.
All right, Ankan Gupta, what's your question?
I just wanted to ask you, does it matter which board the child is studying in order to, apply to a university abroad? Does it matter if the child is studying in an IB board or a ICSE board, or maybe a CBSE board?
See, IB and IGCSE, so that means a Cambridge board. So these two boards are like more well known and more recognized, because they are international standard boards, right?
Okay.
However, if a student is from a CBSE or ICSE or state boards, then there are certain exams that a child can take to prove his academic ability.
Okay. Okay. So does it make sense for a child to be, or is it easier? It becomes easier to study in an IB board if one has to apply.
If he does well, it's not just the only the board thing. The child has to get good grades in that board also. So if a student, let's say, is doing, I'll give you the example of Delhi. In Delhi, all the top schools are CBSE boards, right?
Correct.
So we would never recommend a student to like go to an IB board just because IB board is well recognized.
Okay.
Instead, we would ask the student to get good grades in the CBSE board, then take a couple of AP exams or some other, there are other ways and means basically to enhance the academic profile.
And what about the ICSE, ma'am?
Same thing, ICSE, CBSE, same thing.
Acha, okay, all right, okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sam Alexander, what's your question? Sam Alexander, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. I'm Sam Alexander. I'm the parent.
Oh, hello, sir. How are you?
My boys are going for music studies abroad. So, which is the best country for contemporary music, instrumental bachelor's degrees studies?
US is good. You have got Juilliard, is obviously the #1 music university in the world, right? Then you
Yeah,
have got
Juilliard. That is classical. Classical Juilliard. For contemporary music, the #1 is Berkeley. Berkeley is very expensive. I heard it may cost even 4 crores or something. I don't know if it's true. So,
not necessarily 4 crores, but definitely in the tune of like 80 lakhs to 1 crore. Yep.
I say, okay. Otherwise, which is the best country you suggest for contemporary music next to Berkeley, other than Berkeley?
Yeah, you can look at CalArts also.
Kerala. I see. Spelling?
California College of Arts, CalArts.
California College of Arts.
Right, right.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically, then there are universities in France also, but most of them are classical oriented actually, because
Yeah, that's the problem. So most of them in the world, they are into classical music, but
what students do is that they
contemporary.
would, once you get into a Juilliard kind of thing, so you can, so the classical base is important. So of course the classical base, and then there are professors there who are also into contemporary. So students usually go for a good university, because that's very important, and then they participate in the contemporary activities of the professors who are teaching there.
Okay, okay. Canada, what about possibilities are there? Canada only Juilliard is there, right? Isn't it?
So Juilliard is in the US,
US.
so
Oh, okay, okay.
right.
Canada, I'm not able
So
to get
Canada is
the.
not that well known. See, ultimately, these good universities, they have to be around where jobs are located, right? So you're in the US, you have got very strong, like your Hollywood, or even your New York, the music studios, and also a lot of good
Uh-huh.
job opportunities and internship opportunities. So that's where the
Mhm.
universities are based out of. And same reason why in France you have, but otherwise, I think US is the best location, I would say. Ultimately, after learning, the child should also have enough ample, employment opportunities. Or like,
Yeah.
New York, you have
So,
got the whole Broadway scene. In the West Coast, you have got the whole Hollywood scene, right? So I think,
okay.
ultimately it's not just the degree. You would want exposure also, right? So
Oh, yeah. Okay. For music college admissions, um, the academics, how much it is important? Because see,
important, but ultimately it's the audition, or it's the, like in a portfolio that would matter the most.
yeah, because these boys are already preparing for the great exams and all. So I don't know how much academics will be given important.
No, it's
Do
the
they have to
basics
get good
they
marks in
have to have.
academics also?
Right.
You
They
know,
have to have the basics
what is the minimum marks they should get? What percentage to apply? Some basic criteria.
So there is no cutoff, so to say. But
Uh-huh.
like, I mean, but marks in the 50s and 60s would not be that good. Even if they have such, then they should at least try to get a good SAT score. Ultimately, SAT is an aptitude test, and even in
Uh,
music, you are expected to have certain aptitude.
uh,
So,
okay.
your question is extremely very, very specific, and so if you have left your number, then our team would get in touch with you and
Yeah,
try
I
to.
already left my
Oh,
number.
sure, sure,
I,
sure.
I didn't write the name, but I left
That's
the
okay.
number
That's okay. Your
actually.
name is automatically appearing here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Abhya Wahi, what's your question?
Yes,
Abhya.
the question is that is it necessary to take the advanced placement examinations?
No, it's not necessary. It's not a mandatory requirement, but it does help. If you have a cup
With
to.
the credits.
Yes, no, not with credits, for admission also. See, ultimately, if you're not from the IB or IGCSE boards, then in India there are different kinds of boards, different kinds of schools. So it becomes difficult for students to prove their academic ability, right? So when you have like a 5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5 kind of score in a couple of APs, then the universities know that yes, you have the caliber to handle a US college level course. So in that
Okay, so
sense,
ma'am,
it
it will
does help.
definitely help and
Right,
it will
right, right.
add extra
Especially
value
if
to
you're
my.
looking for, especially if you're looking for scholarships.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. It's not an admissions requirement, but it's a good to have thing. Shreya Garg, what's your question?
Yeah,
Shreya Garg.
wanted to say that I am.
Can you speak a little louder, Shreya? I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yes.
Yeah, I was saying I'm in 11 right now. So when would is there any age limit for the SAT exam?
No, no, the SAT scores are valid for 5 years. You can take the SAT exam in class 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. So the whatever score you get, they remain valid for 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Shivang, what's your question? Shivang, you can unmute yourself if you have a question, Shivang.
Ma'am, my question has been cleared. So
Okay, all right, awesome. Okay, great. Kavish, what's your question? Yes, Kavish. Kavish, I'm not able to hear you. Not able to hear you, Kavish.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. I was talking about the scholarship.
Okay.
What kind of exams we have to give, and what is the criteria for that?
Right, right. So basically, so the your admissions criteria, that itself is scholarship criteria, right? So universities give scholarships to the top 10 to 15% of the admitted students. So so there is no separate process per se, right? Most of the universities give merit scholarships to the top 10-15% of the admitted students.
Ma'am, what is the cost?
Cost, I already mentioned that it depends on the type of university you choose to go to. It can be either like about 10 to 15 lakhs per year, or it can be as high as 25 to 30 lakhs per year.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so some of you have been typing your questions in the chat, so if you so we that is helpful. So we will be, if we were, even if we are not able to take the questions during the session, we will still reach out to you and address your queries, right? So if you're leaving the questions, and if you haven't left your number, it would be helpful if you leave your number also with the question, so that when we call you, we know exactly what your question was. Okay, moving on. Yatharth Bhatia, what's your question?
Hello.
Yes, Yatharth.
So actually, I'm his sister. I would just like to ask that we are planning for him to go to a university with computer science and computer engineering. So which country should we prefer?
US is the best destination for anything related to computer science. By the way, there is a major difference between computer science and computer engineering, right? So they're two very different fields, so to say, right? So, but yeah, if you choose to go to the US, then do choose to go to the California Bay Area, because that's where majority of the computer science companies, of the best companies in the world, are located.
Okay, so but if we are like looking for Canada, Australia, and Singapore, so in these three countries, which one should we prefer?
Canada is better. Yeah, Australia definitely not. Hardly any good universities, and ultimately, as I said, the bachelor's degree college is there in your CV forever, right? Singapore, if you can manage to get admission in Nanyang Tech or NUS, so those will be good options. But Canada is any day a better option. University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, University of Western Ontario. There are a lot of good colleges for computer science in Canada.
Okay, so can you please just tell me like briefly like which one is better, Waterloo in Canada or Nanyang in Singapore?
Nanyang, any day.
Okay, okay. And how about the admissions procedure? Like, is it difficult than Waterloo or simpler?
Very difficult, far more difficult than Waterloo, because as I said, mentioned earlier, maybe you guys joined later, you missed the initial portion. So in Singapore, there are only these two engineering colleges, so they get a lot of applications.
Okay.
Therefore, the admissions extremely competitive.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Tritiya Ghosh, what's your question?
Ma'am, I want to study medicine, but with the financial aid. Ma'am, I just wanted to know which countries are better for that.
See, financial aid in medicine is very difficult for the. See, if you go directly for a bachelor's degree, so in US and Canada, you cannot go directly. There is no bachelor's degree in medicine, right? So bachelor's degree in medicine kind of thing, you can go for UK. So there's a different process altogether. You can go for Australia, all those countries. In US and Canada, the specialization happens after your bachelor's degree. So you will be doing a 4-year bachelor's in biological sciences, or a bachelor's in pre-med kind of course. After that, then you have to give another entrance exam, and then you get into the MD program, right? So the process is a little different.
Okay, ma'am.
So, but so in the if you go for US and Canada for the 4-year bachelor's degree, you will not become a doctor after that. But your chances of getting scholarship for that 4-year degree is far higher than getting a scholarship for the medicine bachelor's degree in UK, Australia, or New Zealand.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Right?
And ma'am, I
Okay.
wanted to ask you something about the course length provided by
So
the
your voice is coming as very low. You may want to speak a little louder.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Yes.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know the course length and the estimated price that Jambori will be providing. This for
See,
the SAT.
our program is not just SAT coaching. As I mentioned, as I showed earlier, so there are a lot of admissions criteria, so to say. So we help students with all of these. The profile bit is extremely important. So, and if your academics are not strong, then we will guide you about which additional exams you can take. What are the other programs that you can take. If your hobbies are not strong, or if they are not in a format that can be presented to the admissions committee, then we do work with that as well. So ours is a comprehensive profile building program, actually, and we work with students. We get students who join us in class 9th or class 10th also, because that gives us more time to work on the entire profile. So so to say, just the SAT coaching is a very small bit of it. And the SAT, if you want to go only and only for the SAT coaching, then it's like, depending on whether you want to take classes 4 days a week or 2 days a week, the duration can be either 10 weeks or 5 weeks, right? But that is only for the SAT coaching. But we don't, majority of our students actually don't take only the SAT program. They go for the overall program, where right from building a profile to the SAT prep, TOEFL preparation, university applications, everything is covered, right? And that duration is like, as I said, we get students who start with us when they're in class 9, class 10th also. The more time you spend building your profile, the better are your chances of getting admission and scholarship, right?
I'm currently in class 11, so that is why I'm asking.
Again, your voice is dropping off. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Ma'am, now I'm currently class 11, so is
All
it
right, all right.
okay if it's a 2-year course?
Yeah, that is fine. 2 years, it just means that you will have to now devote more time. You'll probably have to devote like 4 or 5 hours per week, to the whole profile building process.
And ma'am, what is the estimated price?
See, I'm not from sales, so I would not know. If you have left your number in the chat, and we will have somebody speak to you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you
All
so
right, all right. Yes, Aditya Agarwal, what's your question? Aditya Agarwal, can you unmute yourself? Aditya Agarwal. Okay. We'll move to somebody else. Sharvi Sani. Sharvi Sani. Yes.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
speak a little louder, Sharvi? Yep.
Ma'am, I would like to know that if I go to abroad for doing engineering, USA will be good or Canada?
Both will be good. Both are good.
And ma'am, if I do my engineering from USA or Canada, then I think that no, it is good to stay in India. Then I come back to India. So, will I get a job? Will there be the value of engineering doing from abroad or not?
Yes, if you go to a good university, then then there will always be value. You
Okay,
just have
ma'am.
to make sure that the bachelor's degree that you do, it is accredited. Like in India, there is AICTE accreditation, right? All the bachelor's degree engineering degrees, they are accredited by AICTE. The universities are accredited by UGC. Similarly, there are different accreditation bodies for US and Canada. So whichever country you decide to go to, make sure that you go to a college that is that has the right accreditations, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So there, I see a lot of raised hands. I may not be able to take all your questions. So please, like, leave your question and your number in the chat, so that when our team calls you, they will know what your questions are, right? Okay. Yes, Harnoor, what's your question? Harnoor, you have a question? Okay. Harnoor, are you there? Never mind. Avihan Jan.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Avihan. Yes.
Ma'am, firstly, I would, ma'am, like to know a little more about the APs, how many we should preferably give and when can we give them?
AP exams are conducted in May every year, May, June every year, right?
Yes.
So you can see the 2 to 3 is a good number, but we also have students who take as many as 5 or 8 also. But to average 3, you should try to take.
Ma'am, ma'am, any estimation of how big the syllabus is for an AP?
Okay, so it is usually similar to your class 10th and 11th syllabus.
Right.
So, for example, if you decide to take calculus, then the calculus, whatever calculus you have studied in class 11, so that would be the syllabus.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, and ma'am, what Canadian colleges are good for engineering?
University of Toronto is there. University of Western Ontario is good. University of British Columbia, McGill University. So they are good universities.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anushri Polekar.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. So, my question is, now education system after 10th, we have to choose 3 streams, that is arts, commerce, and science. So, does it matter which stream we go to?
What do you want to do your bachelor's degree in?
In designing.
Okay, then you may want to go for humanities, right? With
No,
maths.
humanities, but it's combined program of designing, then technology and arts, like computer science and.
So in your humanities, do you have maths?
No, I don't have maths.
So try to have, if you are in class 11, if you have the option, then go for humanities with maths.
Okay.
So then you can apply for the tech kind of programs as well.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Sukeshi, what's your question? Sukeshi?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Yes.
My son is looking at economics and business as a choice. So, which would be a good country to go to? And he is also very much interested in designing. So, can that be also taken into consideration?
Economics and business is a very is available in every country, and there are good universities in a lot of countries. So maybe at this point, don't restrict yourself to a country. Apply to the best universities, and once you get the admission offers and scholarship offers, then make up your mind. For economics and business, there are good universities in the US, in Canada, in Singapore, in India also. So to where SAT is accepted, like Narsi Monji and all, right? So basically, don't restrict yourself to a location, to a country right now.
Right. And also, I wanted to ask, how long does a child take on an average to prepare for a SAT?
Usually, it's about 4 to 5 months.
Okay. Okay. And is a pre-SAT examination required?
No, it's not. See, PSAT exam is for if you are if you're an Indian passport holder, it's not going to help you in any way. If you are a US citizen, if your son has a US passport, then it may help him in some scholarships, etc. But for Indian international students, the PSAT exam has no value.
Just pre-SAT is that they just prepare them for a SAT. That's why you do a
Right, that's it. Yeah, the exam is about 2-3 levels,
he has an
easier than
Indian
the actual
passport.
SAT.
Okay, he's in grade 10 right now.
Let him prepare directly for the SAT. We have students, some of our students take the exam, SAT exam in class 9th also. So, why waste time on the PSAT, when he can directly do the SAT exam.
Right. And the admission criteria page which you have shown, the
Right.
green page.
Right.
Now, in that, I wanted a few guidelines. Is that would be on a one-to-one base?
Yeah, yeah, yes. If you have left your numbers, we will call you up, and then somebody will schedule a session with an admissions counselor.
Okay. And do you have an office in Ahmedabad, Gujarat?
Yeah, yeah, yes, we do. It is
Oh,
closed now, and I mean, currently it's closed, obviously. And for like SAT kids, that means under 18 children, we have been teaching online since March of 2020.
right. Okay. One more thing is if the child, while pursuing business, if he gets interested in psychology or something like that, that as you have shown before
He
that
can
there
switch.
is an
He can
option,
switch major. Yeah, he can switch his
but
major.
that can only happen in US, right?
US and Canada.
And Canada. Okay. And Singapore, which college were you telling me about the business for the business?
NUS, National University of Singapore, and Singapore Management University. There are only these two colleges,
Okay.
Right.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay, so we'll take two more questions. So in the meantime, if you have left your questions, we'll definitely be, calling you to, have a session set up with you. If you have no questions, feel free to leave. I hope you found this session useful. All right. Mohit Chaudhary, what's your question?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mohit.
Ma'am, I want to ask mainly the question that what's the difference between SAT and ACT? Do some students do better on ACT rather than SAT?
See, we teach students on both the exams, and our data shows that Indian students do better on the SAT because SAT is a paper pencil test. So it is similar to how you take your exams in your school. ACT is a computer test, right? So it means you will have to kind of master one more skill, like reading passages on the screen, then solving them. So according to our data, Indian students, they tend to do better on the SAT exam.
Okay.
Otherwise, in terms of acceptability, universities accept both these scores.
Okay. And one more question about the AP exams. So as I am in my senior year, grade 12 right now, and the AP exams are going on right now, but I didn't register for them. So how would I be able to give the AP exams as I have didn't give?
No, you will not be because the registration deadlines are already over.
Okay. Okay,
so
no
there is a
problem.
registration deadline by which you have to kind of, register.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. All the best.
Thank you.
So the last question of the day, okay. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Tavisha Jatakia, are you there? Tavisha?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Yes. I'm
Hi.
sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly.
Arey, it's okay. That is Twisha Zatakia. It's my
Twisha,
daughter
okay,
name. Yeah.
Right.
I'm actually her mother, Shruti. Hello.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, my daughter is right now, she has started 11th standard.
Okay.
Here, she is studying in Zyda School, Ahmedabad, and ICSE is my board. Now, the thing is that, ma'am, she is interested in computer science. She likes economics and business also. She's interested in innovation also. The thing is that, ma'am, as you said, we are interested in the country like US, Canada, and Singapore. So we can take major and minor in these three countries or only in Canada and US?
Only in Canada and US. So US education, the Singapore education system is like India. So basically, in a British education system, that's what India follows, and UK follows, and Singapore follows. So there, this kind of flexibility is not there. But in North American education system, which US and Canada follow, there is a lot of flexibility. So in US or Canada, in Canadian university, she can do a major in business, let's say, with a minor in computer science. All those possibilities are there only in US and Canadian universities.
Okay. Now my second question is that जैसे कि अभी वो प्रिपेयर कर रही है इंडियन कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के लिए जो कि यहाँ की यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए चाहिए अब उसने या अगर वो एसईटी कब तक लिख सकती है, जैसे अपना 12th क्लियर करने के बाद वो लिख सकती है एसईटी?
ये वो तो लिख सकते हैं, पर उससे ना फिर उनका 1 साल वेस्ट हो जाएगा फिर, क्योंकि अगर उनको अगर उनको जैसे 2022 में उनका कॉलेज शुरू होगा, राइट? 2023 कब शुरू होगा उनका कॉलेज?
या बस उसका मेरे ख्याल से 23-24 में शुरू होगा।
हाँ, तो अभी
Academic
क्लास
year।
11th ना, सो
हाँ।
2023 में उनका कॉलेज शुरू होगा। सो उनको यूएस में ना उनको अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा 2022 में। सो 1 साल पहले अप्लाई करना होता है।
Okay, I know that procedure, but for the safer side, I am just asking to you कि अगर कोई इंसान है, मान लीजिए कि वो लेट डिसाइड करता है जाने के लिए, तो 12th के एग्जाम के बाद वो लोग लिख सकते हैं कि या
बिल्कुल लिख
इम्पैक्ट
सकते हैं,
पड़ता है?
बिल्कुल लिख सकते हैं। जस्ट कि उनका फिर 1 साल वेस्ट होगा। सो उस 1 साल शी हैज टू डू ईदर इंटर्नशिप्स या कुछ, उनको यूनिवर्सिटी को बताना पड़ेगा कि उन्होंने 1 साल का गैप क्यों लिया, मतलब।
That is okay, that we can manage when I come to you as a means like for my everything. But the thing is that मैम कि actually SAT तो मैं उसे शायद दिलवा भी दूंगी आपके थ्रू बहुत जल्दी, बट ये है कि इंडियन एग्जामिनेशन एंड अब्रॉड एग्जामिनेशन बोथ आर डिफरेंट, प्रोफाइल बिल्डिंग और ये सब मुझे नहीं मालूम वो कितना लोड ले पाएगी। एंड द थिंग इज दैट कि उसका जो यहाँ पे टारगेट है दैट इज बिट्स पिलानी, DIICT ये सब भी है, तो उनके सब्जेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन अलग है, वहां के सब्जेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन अलग है।
एक वहाँ के इंडियन एंट्रेंस एग्जाम के कंपैरिजन में तो एसएटी आसानी है। एसएटी में ना इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स फंसते हैं द इंग्लिश वाले सेक्शन पे, मैथ्स तो काफी आसान होता है ना। अगर कोई इंडियन एंट्रेंस देता है तो उसके
मैम
लिए
उसका
तो
इंग्लिश काफी अच्छा है, उसे ओलंपियाड में गोल्ड मेडल आए हुए हैं 2 साल कंटिन्यूअसली, 9th एंड 10th, तो इंग्लिश तो उसका काफी अच्छा है मैम। एंड ICSE बोर्ड तो उसको लिटरेचर है पहले से, ग्रामर इज अ डिफरेंट, मींस इंग्लिश 2 होता है उनका ICSE बोर्ड में।
हाँ,
तो इंग्लिश तो उसका काफी अच्छा है मैम। नाउ माय थर्ड क्वेश्चन इज दैट कि जैसे यहाँ की अहमदाबाद में AIS स्कूल है, दैट इज अ IB बोर्ड स्कूल। अब अगर मैं उसको IB बोर्ड में शिफ्ट करूं 11-12 से, सो इज इट अ गुड? जैसे कि आपने बताया LOR चाहिए हमें स्कूल से, तो वो 10th तक तो जाइडस में पड़ी है और 11-12 में शायद उसका या तो CBSE ले रही हूँ या तो IB ले रही हूँ, तो उसे अच्छा क्रेडिट मिलेगा वहां पर?
अगर इफ शी सीम्स टू बी अ गुड स्टूडेंट, अगर इस स्कूल में वो अगर अच्छा कर रही है तो आपको बस आपको IB में शिफ्ट करके इतना कोई खास प्लस ना, आई वुड रादर से कि वो थोड़ा AP वपी लेके अपना प्रोफाइल इसी में अपना जो सिस्टम शी इज यूज्ड टू ना उसी पे उनको कंप्लीट करने दीजिए। लेट हर टेक अ कपल ऑफ AP एग्जाम्स, SAT में स्कोर लाने दीजिए, नो दैट विल बी इनफ, राइट? क्योंकि IB बोर्ड में ना जब शुरू से नहीं पढ़ा है ना, उसको काफी ज्यादा एडजस्टमेंट हो जाती है उसके लिए। तो इस चक्कर में उनके 11th का मार्क्स ना कम हो जाए, then it will be a very bad thing, you know?
Understand, got your point. Now my last question is that कि जैसे उसे साइकिल आगे जाके उसको ना इंटरेस्ट कहाँ पर है मैम? वो छोड़ क्या रही है इंडिया में? वो छोड़ क्या रही है? बायोलॉजी छोड़ रही है। PCM प्लस कंप्यूटर उसने ऑप्ट किया, क्योंकि PCM भी करना थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है ICSE बोर्ड में भी, वो बहुत लेंदी हो जाता है। तो बायोलॉजी का APs अगर वो दे देती है तो इन फ्यूचर इफ शी इज इंटरेस्टेड, जैसे कि आपने बताया कि कनाडा और US में अगर आपको डॉक्टर जाना है तो आपका फर्स्ट डिग्री बायोलॉजी में कुछ अलग ही रहता है, या उसको बायो कंप्यूटेशनल मैथमेटिक्स के साथ मैच करना है कंप्यूटर के साथ, तो वो कर सकती है बायो का APs देके?
AP तो लिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। पहले तो वी वुड रिकमेंड कि अगर वो PCM कंप्यूटर साइंस अगर ले रही है, देन वो लाइक मे बी कंप्यूटर साइंस या किसी डिग्री में चले जाए वहां पे, देन उसको वहां के कॉलेज के बायोलॉजी रिलेटेड वो कोर्सेस ले, देन वो 1 साल बाद वो शिफ्ट कर सकती है। क्योंकि AP ना एडमिशन के लिए आपका मतलब उसके बाद के इतना कोई नहीं रहेगा। वहां जाके शी मे हैव टू टेक अ लॉट मोर बायोलॉजी रिलेटेड कोर्सेस, ताकि वो फाइनली अगर वो चाहे तो वो ना जो आप बोल रहे हो वो कर सके वो।
ओके, बट स्विच तो कर सकती है अगर वो चाहे तो वहां पे बायोलॉजी की करियर में स्विच कर सकती है। मेरा सबसे बड़ा टेंशन वही है कि वो यहाँ पे बायोलॉजी छोड़ रही है, अब जो कंट्री में वो जा रही है वहां पे अभी उसका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है बायोलॉजी में, बट वहां जाके अगर उसे इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हुआ तो वो स्विच कर सकती है कि नहीं अपनी करियर? दैट इज माय मेन।
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं। एक्चुअली US एंड कनाडा में दैट्स द बिगेस्ट एडवांटेज। अभी तो बच्चों को पता भी नहीं कि ऐसे भी कोर्सेस है, जैसे ना कि फाइनेंशियल इंजीनियरिंग ले लीजिए, डेटा साइंस है, लोग ऐसे भी कोर्सेस है इंडिया बच्चों को पता भी नहीं है क्योंकि एक्सपोजर नहीं है। तो वहां जाकर जब उनको पता चलता है, लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स स्विच। हमारे पास ऐसे भी बच्चे थे जो बोलते हैं कंप्यूटर साइंस करने जाना है, अप्लाई करते हैं, वहां जाके वो मतलब फिल्म मेकिंग, फोटोग्राफी ये सब कर लेते हैं, यू नो। सो
अच्छा,
स्विच
okay.
तो कर ही सकते हैं, ऑब्वियसली वहां जाके उनको रिलेवेंट कोर्सेज लेने पड़ेंगे टू स्विच।
ओके और मैम मैं ये चाहूंगी एक्चुअली मुझे बहुत ही अच्छा एक्सपर्ट आपसे चाहिए जो मुझे ये सब पूरा का पूरा समझाए एंड आई एम रेडी फॉर दैट।
तो sure, आप अपने इफ यू हैव लेफ्ट योर नंबर, हमारी टीम
यस आई
somebody
हैव
will call
लेफ्ट
you.
माय नंबर, आई
आप
हैव लेफ्ट माय
अहमदाबाद से
नंबर।
हैं हो ना? ठीक है, we'll have
मैं
somebody
अहमदाबाद
from
से हूँ मैम, बट एक्चुअली अहमदाबाद ऑफिस में अभी मतलब मैं एक बार बहुत पहले गई थी, बट इतना करियर काउंसलिंग में मुझे मजा नहीं आया मैम। जो आज आपने मुझे जो डेप्थ से बताया ना, तो मुझे बहुत ही इंटरेस्ट आया। द थिंग इज दैट मेरे दिमाग में एक लड़की को मैं भेज रही हूँ इंडिया से अब्रॉड, तो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन है उसकी करियर और बहुत सारी चीजों को लेके। तो कोई वेल पर्सन अगर मुझे कांटेक्ट करता है तो मेरे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएंगे एंड डेफिनेटली आई विल बी विथ यू।
Sure. मैं अब see again as I'm not from sales, तो हो सकता है आपकी सेल्स टीम से बात हुई होगी, but I'll ask an admissions counselor to have a word with you.
यस मैम, और मुझे वो परफेक्ट पर्सन चाहिए जो मुझे परफेक्टली गाइड करे कि ये कोर्सेज से उसकी ये करियर बनेगी और इससे ये बनेगी। मैम शी इज अ वेरी ब्राइट स्टूडेंट टिल द डेट इन जाइडस स्कूल, ऐसा है। और करने के लिए तो मैम पढ़ने के लिए वो कुछ भी पढ़ लेती है, पढ़ने से उसे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट सब्जेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन से उनका करियर बनता है और उनके खुद की लाइफ के गोल्स क्लियर होते हैं, तो वही मेन चीज है।
Well, I understand. Okay, ma'am, all the best. Somebody will have someone speak to you soon.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a nice
Thank you.
time. Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
You too. So that's all for now. Everybody have a great weekend. I hope you learned something at least that you can use. A lot of you have left your numbers. Our teams would get in touch with you in the next 2 to 3 days. And all the best. Don't give up. Work. If the more amount of work that you put in, on your profile, on your SAT exams, the better are your chances. All the best, everyone.